Hello, hello. Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year. All right, yeah, it's been a few months since I've did a last update on my channel regarding any kind of review, and I do apologize for that. I still have I did renew my subscription for Weekly Shonen Jump, and we get started with our new issues on tomorrow. And so I'm looking forward to that. But everybody's already seen the scanlation, so you already know. Well, except for like maybe a couple, you know, well, at least for World Trigger at least, because yeah. So I'm gonna start off with World Trigger. I guess I'll just give like a little general update. Um, yeah, World Trigger is still going, and I think I've seen it. It's on even more scanlation sites now, so it's caught up. So you can definitely Um, you have to catch up with us when we get it brand new. It maybe be out a day or two later on the scan sites or whatever. And I know they have, some volumes out that not in America yet. The first one, but it should be in America sometime. I say sometime in the first quarter. I would believe so, because they're already out in Japan. I think on the second volume right now. So, um, the story is very, I mean, it's getting excited. It's very, very exciting right now. We're in a point where, it's if you've been following along, let me just give everybody a chance to kind of, if you, well, it's not really like a huge spoiler, I would say, because I'm not giving anything away, but let's just say that we're in a very important part of the storyline right now. So just in case anybody who does, maybe somebody stumbles up, upon this and it's like, well, and if they don't know anything, so I'm not gonna give any details or anything out like that. But let's just say, action is picking up for the entire city. So yeah, but I hope everybody, checks it out. You can go, like I said, you can find a scanlation site. You can just do a search engine and just type in World Trigger and find it that way. And go back from the very first chapter and and see if you enjoy the series for yourself. If you don't, you know, well, mate, because everybody doesn't like everything, so it's no big, that's no problem. Maybe somebody else, or maybe if you do like it, But the point is, I'm trying to, you know, continue to build support for this, so it will continue on throughout the rest of this year. Like I say, so it's the longest running. Well, out of the new mangas last year in Weekly Shonen Jump, World Trigger is on the longest run. So hopefully we can, definitely continue the success and possibly maybe even a anime sometime this year, perhaps. I don't know. Perhaps maybe in the third or the fourth quarter of the year, potentially be, 'cause I think we're on chapter 44 right now, so in a way the weekly Shonen Jump count is set up for like 48 chapters. If they release it every week. Let's see. So let's say probably at least get take into consideration any kind of maybe sickness like for some of the authors have, or just taking a break here or there. Let's just say maybe we'll get 40 issues. So that'd be like what 84. So you have like 84 complete chapter. Well, yeah, 84 chapters total. So yeah, I mean, so everything just depends on the success. Maybe it takes off, but I definitely hope that the success continues on. And for everything, One Piece. I mean, man, the excitement on One Piece. Everybody knows. I mean, And I do have some theories and thoughts upon One Piece. I'm seeing a lot of the reviewers, and I let's just say a lot of people are severely underestimating the Straw Hat crew. And I might just go ahead and make a video about that. Just give some what I consider logical points of views. At least regarding that. Naruto is supposed to be in his final year. So it's gonna come to it's gonna end. Sadly so, but it's been around for for a very long time and had a lot of success, and it's done very well for itself. So it's gonna go out with a bang. I'm pretty sure of that. Toriko, Atidakimasu. Man, yes. Toriko is, it's gonna come back. Well, it's on. Well, from reading the scanlation, because I do read the scanlation in addition to having my subscription. It's like I still resubscribe even though I read because it's just the easiest way to keep caught up and without spoilers. It's like yeah, because it's impossible to do without just being a week behind the scanlations. The early leak stuff. So, but Toriko is on break and it'll be back because we're in issue number 5, so 6 comes out tomorrow, and it's gonna come back in issue number 10. So it's not that long to wait, people. You can just go to the forums or just form thoughts and and theories about what you think the gourmet world would be like. He gave you a lot of hints. Lots of hints were given about the gourmet world, and especially in regards to the power scale and things like that. So, but yeah, and Tarico's continued his success. 'Cause hold on one moment. Okay, I'm sorry about that. The crossover with Dragon Ball Z last year and One Piece. And the crossovers with One Piece. Who knows? There may be some other crossover this year between series. You just have to look out. But Toriko's is doing very well as well. And let's see. Okay, we just did One Piece. We did World Trigger. We did One Piece. We talked about Naruto. Talked about Toriko. Ah, yes. Bleach. That's right. Bleach, Bleach, Bleach. And we can say now, Ishin Shiba. It was one of the revelations last year. Ishin Shiba. Haha. You know. So yes, and obviously, the action and everything is picking up in Bleach. With Renji, and things like that. Just getting a chance to see him, and he looks to possibly be in his brand new Bankai. So I guess we have to wait till probably Wednesday, if not Tuesday. Sometimes it just depends, and it depends on which scan site you go to. Sometimes one of them have them like a full day ahead early. So it just depends. Let's see. I know everybody's going to be waiting for Kenpachi to come back. With the revelation of hearing his Pakto's name for the first time, and that's gonna be very epic. Obviously, Ichigo, and I mean, he has so many layers, to reveal with his power, and I mean, you're seeing how strong Renji is right now. I mean, man, Ichigo is just gonna be, how would the King of Lightning say it, nasty. you know, yeah, that's what he said in one of his One Piece reviews. In a chapter where Law, and excuse me for any potential spoilers for people. Um, whoever does hear this, it's not like I have thousands of people on this channel as of right now. It'll take a while to build up. If I'm able to get back on here and really put in great effort. But the King of Lightning, he said when Law cut the on the Punk Hazard arc, when Law made the room and cut Virgo in half, he was like, so epic, it's nasty. Yeah. So that's what I'm seeing. Ichigo is gonna be so epic, it's nasty. His clinch, he's at full strength now. And he's a dual Zanpakuto wielder now. He's accepted his hollow powers, his true powers. He's accepted and he knows everything that he is, and yeah. So, I mean, I know, and people still, everybody's talking about, well, he better have something more than Getsuga Tensho. I'm pretty sure he will, obviously, like I say. And I think we got a clue with that with Ishin. Um, and when he released in Getsu, it's like Burn in Getsu, it's a fire type element. So I believe that clues were given, and all you had to do is just piece the puzzles, together, as well as using his Quincy power. So, and he did finish his training. So, now there is one thing about that is now I know for a fact that there were some weeks, that we can determine as far as the human world goes. Um, well, I'm like weeks. Well, I know at least a few days because his Asauchi training with Renji that took 3 days and 3 nights. There was also the same time frame Kenpachi and Unohana spent. Well, she well she basically killed him, brought him back to life, killed him, brought him back to life, killed him, brought him back to life. During that whole time. He took one complete whole day to hear the backstory of his daddy and his mama, Ishin and Masaki. So we learned that. So we know for a fact, at the very least, it's been 4 full days that Ichigo has been in the Soul Society. But that time frame is from the time he went to Namaya's palace and they started the Asuyuchi training. That does not include the time before, when before he got to Namaya's place. So that does not include going, to the first, to Korenji's and Hikefune's place. So it's been at least 4 days, 4 complete days in the real world, and like I say, so now how long has it been in total? We know for sure with the facts is that for at least 4 days, and when he was in finished up his training, the attack, the second invasion began 3 hours, because he went when while he was finishing up his training. So, it's lots to be excited about. Like I said, everybody, I hope everybody has a great year this year, and I hope you all enjoy the anime and manga a lot. Like I say, it's important to support, when you can, be responsible, save your money, buy this, because it's not free. And like I said, yeah, we read the scanlation sites, you read the scanlation sites, and, but, that comes at a cost. So, that's my main point is I want everybody to go out and buy, what you can when you can. And like I said, I have, um, yeah, through Shonen Jump, I have, a digital, let's see, what I forget, it was one of Bleach that I bought, and I bought some DVDs last year as well. Let's see, Trigun and Black Lagoon. I had to complete the DVD and Blu-ray set on that and the complete series of Trigun. So, everybody do what you can, as well as subscribe to Weekly Shonen Jump. So people do what you can when you can, to show your support for the official so you can continue to get these exciting stories and mangas. And also, I want to talk about, oh yeah, Attack on Titan, Shigeki no Kujin. Man, that was also another excellent epic, you know, manga, and last year, and as well as the animation, the anime really, I mean, it finished number two behind One Piece last year, so shows you how well that did. It shows you how well that did. I mean, man, yeah. So I'm not reading everything. Like, I mean, I know it's a lot of reviewers, and they read like at least 10 different mangas. I'm only reading, really what's in Weekly Shonen Jump. And I don't even read everything in that. I'm just mostly, let's see, it's mostly Naruto, One Piece, Bleach, the big three. What got you started in is Toriko. It's also World Trigger and One Punch Man. So yeah, and oh yes, I also enjoy One Punch Man. So yeah, that's something great as well. I haven't really caught up to the new series. What's the name of it? Seraph, if I pronounced it correctly. So, but I still have those. Y'all can go back and and look at those. So yeah, it's a lot. You get a lot to read. And they're still doing a Dragon Ball in full color pages in Weekly Shonen Jump. So, and I also learned something as far as regarding Dragon Ball. In Japan, it's just Dragon Ball. It's not Dragon Ball Z and not no GT, nothing like that. It's just Dragon Ball, and it's just different parts of the story. So, but just for the American market, they broke it up. So yeah, and I started listening to the podcast, as well. So maybe at least 6, 7 months ago. So in the podcast, they're very informative as well. And congratulations to all the people who did, who entered the contest and who were selected. I haven't read them yet. I had to read them today so I can get my actually, huh? No, I think I might be a little bit too late on the vote, but anyway, at least I'm gonna read them and see, But they look to be, potentially very good series. So just keep it up, So, let's see. I'm not sure. Let's see. Oh yes, Fairy Tale. Yes, I read Fairy Tale. Let's see. And actually, if you have a Crunchyroll, well, you don't even get a Crunchyroll subscription, but the chapters from Fairy Tale and some of the other, yeah, they're on Crunchyroll. So you can just go to Crunchyroll and um, well, it doesn't come out the same day like the scan does, but it's like a week, like the next week, sometime that next week, So you can have like the official translation, and it'll be on Crunchyroll. And Crunchyroll, if you have the money for it, you can definitely go ahead and subscribe. Cause Crunchyroll, you pay a monthly, you're paying a monthly price. And with Weekly Shonen Jump, I only paid just a one time fee for the entire year. So yeah, so yeah, but I don't have a subscription to Crunchyroll. But it definitely looks to be worth it. You can a lot of benefits to doing so. But it just depends on how much you look at and time as well. You have to make sure that you're getting all of your money's worth. Yeah, but I'm enjoying Fairy Tail. I know a lot of last year, especially with the tournament, a lot of people were upset, and the King of Lightning dropped it. I mean, man, he was so vested into the story that I mean, it actually physically made affected him physically, and that's not a good thing. I think pretty much everyone that you kind of maybe you're kind of seeing how the story is going, and you have a thought of how it should be going or how it should be, or you just don't like how it was done. So of any variations of those. I just read it and see how the story is going. That's all I do. Sometimes it may not be as exciting as I want. For any chapter, from any series that I read, or it may just be mind blowing. But yeah, I still enjoy fairy tale. Like I say, cause number one, I'm reading it for free. I'm not complaining about something I read for free. Like I say, um, yeah. So I'm just enjoying it. You know, and that's that. If I don't like the story, I'm not gonna read it. And that's pretty much what he did. He didn't enjoy the story, so he stopped reading it. You know, but I've been enjoying it. And yeah, it looks. I think I have some thoughts on Natsu, and actually, I believe clues have been given out. You just have to kind of really pay attention and see how things are done. We'll see if they'll play out like that. I guess as far as reviewers go, last year, I caught on to, some more. I created this channel last year strictly for the sole purpose of, manga, anime. That's most of what I'll look at on this channel, which makes it easier, as well as the subscriptions I have on this channel will only be like manga, anime, and gamers. Yeah, and gamers as well. I started following a lot of video gamers, and we're gonna see if we can upload this. Right now we're on like 20. We're coming up on 22 minutes, so I'm not gonna break it up. I'm gonna see if I can upload it. We're gonna see if it'll take. I don't know, maybe, maybe not. But yeah, so and have a lot of, I follow a lot of female gamers. I don't know a lot of the big, huge name gamers. Maybe know some of them. I know I had what's his name? The dude's name was Francis. I do have him on my other YouTube channel. 'Cause I know he's like this, yeah, one of the huge people. Yeah, but let's see. We got 219 Gary, Indiana. Just IND, not Indiana. Let's see the video game. Her was that Crunk Girl 711 if I remember right. And they do their thing with those games. Let me see. Let me see. I know the Big Cheese KIT. I just got on to him actually a few months ago. So let's see. Um, let's see the other. Let me make sure I hit Crunk Girl's name correct. Let's see. Yeah, it's a lot of you got to show support for the women. This is it. One pod, one reviewer. See Brittany Tanisha. Oh, and I do so I have Miss Artemis, and she does a lot of paint gun battles and stuff like that. Yeah, so you can check out that video. It's actually pretty, interesting. Look out. I haven't done it myself, so I definitely look at her doing that. I'm not going to run down through all of the names, but Miss Artemis Payne. I think I have both her channels on her. Yeah, it's Crunk Girl 711. Like I say, Gary 219. Well 219 Gary IND. That's her name. And she's a veteran, so if you stop by her channel, go ahead and show your support and thanks, because she is a veteran, from the armed forces, and yeah, she's into gaming and guns as well. Oh yeah, so she'll put maybe a couple videos on there, about some guns, ammunition, or her cars. I mean, yes, yeah. So she's she's definitely very awesome. I definitely enjoy her, whenever she does decide to put up a video. She's definitely, it's definitely fun, and she like I say, she's fair at what she says. Like her opinion. But she's basically like, well, just try it for yourself and see if you like it. Regarding like all these console, just everything. I mean, but yeah, she's a cool person. So, and she's good looking as well. That doesn't hurt. All these women, they're all nice looking women. Um, like I said, not that looks a matter or what defines a person. But yeah, so. But I just say that, as a compliment. Yeah, so, check out who you want to check out. Don't be afraid to, um, basically just, if you have an interest in it, see for yourself. So basically, that's what this entire channel is. It's mostly gaming and let's see, and anime and manga. So yeah, but right now I'm not getting back into any reviews. It's just I just don't have the time to do so. Any kind of and it. So when you don't have time to do something, you have to prioritize your time. You know, and but hopefully maybe by the third quarter of this year, and if you don't know it, when I say quarter of the year, it's 12 months in the calendar. And what you do is basically, if you ever watch the news and you say, okay, the first quarter stock to the second, yeah, it's basically just part of the year. So right now we're in the first quarter of this year, January, you know, and the fourth quarter of the year, at the end, very end of it is December. So so you just go by the months, the first 4 months. You basically just dividing everything into four equal halves, and you have your first, second, third, fourth quarter of the year. So, yeah, and let's see. So that's basically. Actually, kind of forgot what I was going to talk about. Let me continue to ramble on here. Oh yeah, and other, there's a lot of regulars. I would say I try to stay away from or not look at videos from any reviewers if they're just gonna be basically if they're just gonna be negative. I'm like, then why are you reading? Yeah. So I did unfollow. Maybe at least a couple people last year. I'm like, man, this is just ridiculous. I'm not. I don't want to hear you talk. I mean, it's just not enjoyable. You know what I'm saying? You can criticize, okay, but I'm just you're just too overly negative. I mean, what's the point? So and it's like I don't look at everybody reviews. Maybe not doing the same. I may span it out over a few days, or it just depends, But I have some. Let's see, some people I follow. They're overseas. At least I know one of them is Jayo Simone's, and I believe he is a college student. Yeah, he smokes his cigarette sometimes during his reviews, and I think he's in, if I remember correctly, I think he's in Portugal or maybe Spain. Yeah, I think he's in Spain. So I'm not sure which part, but I believe that's where the part he's in. Um, and that's pretty cool. Of course, everybody knows of Ito the Talker. Reloaded. You know, over there in Croatia. Let's see. So I remember somebody named Slide Dragon, Shimagami X, the Green Okami. They're all over there in Europe, somewhere, and I believe in England to be precise. Um, let's see. There's a lot of people. Let's see. Of course, King of Lightning. Everybody, a lot of people knows about. Sawyer Seven Maze. A lot of people knows about Forever. A lot of people knows about between Sawyer and Forever. Hold on one moment. I think those are two of the highest, um, you know, most subscribed to channels. Yeah, so yeah, they have like, they get like 30,000 views annually. So yeah, those channels are huge as far as numbers go. So and let's see. So we have like Game on Cloud Nine. Now if everybody remembers him, yeah, he was the one. When everybody started doing the live streaming and whatnot, and they had these debates with the versus matches and whatnot. Um, yeah, it was not a very, it just wasn't, those weren't cool things. You know what I mean? It just wasn't enjoyable to watch or listen to. The man. You got to find out a lot about some of these people, and it's like it made me step back from some of them other people. I'm like, man, yeah, I lost some respect for y'all. Why people talking about losing respect because you don't read this or that. I'm like, how you treated that man, yeah. So you just kind of got to back up. There is something to be said about showing respect to somebody. Respect for one's opinions, and you want somebody to respect your opinions, you respect theirs and their views. If you don't see things the same way, that's called a different point of view. You know. It's just a basic thing, and it applies to so many things in life. You're gonna have. Just think about it. If everybody in the world liked what you liked, agreed with what you agreed with, that'd be a scary thing. You know. Yeah, it'll be a scary thing. So difference of opinions. Even like I said, I look at. I have a huge variety of people. Like Lunar Spiral, 1127. I said, well, and I see some people I've been with for the longest, like Terrell Game Vlogs, and even though he doesn't really, he'll do a review here every now and then for something from, you know, um, like the last one he did was like One Piece, but he mostly does, well, he doesn't do Pokemon anymore, but just somebody, from the home state. Um, Let me see, Super Comic Guru, I've been with them, for a while. You see, like how Yokorama and let's see, oh yeah, Fury Guts, Tech King 101, The Elite Ace. Let's see, I have Show Nuff the King. Let's see, I have Anime Breakdown. And some, well, I haven't seen Kato Kid in a minute. I think haven't seen him in the past few months or so, so he's on another break. Let's see, I just saw somebody else review Toriko. What's his name? Saiyan Z3. Let's see, Kuma Pause 376. North Side Z. Yeah, so they just did the latest. They actually did like a live reaction of that last Toriko chapter. So yeah, it was very nice to see those reactions as well. Zoro Fanboy 124. Now he mostly does his reviews like a stream, and like his biggest one is like One Piece. So he'll start up the chat, and he'll do a live review, and so it's interesting hearing some of his thoughts and along with other people about One Piece. You know, um, let's see. Oh, McWhirlpool Inc. You know, keep your head up, man. Keep your head up. Yeah, announced in one of his that his life. He's dealing with, going through a tough time right now. So, but like I said, I hope, the manga brings you some joy and some happiness. But just take your time, and that's the only thing you can do. Let's see, Bankai 922. Now, I haven't really looked at his reviews as of late. Like I said, man, it's just so many people. You kind of get to them when you can. I mean, I go back and listen, but I mean, everybody knows how Bankai is. I mean, man, everybody got on. A lot of people got on him last year doing one of his Bleach reviews. What was it? Oh, when Ichigo went back to the real world after the Maya kicked him out, and he made a rant about that. And it was like, he said like in a chapter before, the week before, doing that review, it was like, man, if he goes back to I'm just gonna, yeah. And he did. He did. He made a big thing about it. It was like, yeah, well, everybody's like, basically, like, hold on, one moment. Take it easy, take it easy. This is important. I mean, this is something that, we've been, and it was something that, we knew was coming for a long time. And actually, at one point thought that it might be its own arc, the Ishin arc. But the story with the Ishin and Masaki, it was critical and it was very well done. But he just wanted, the action to continue on. That's all that was. But yeah. And man, people let him know in that video. He came back out next, okay. But no harm, no foul. It's just sometimes you got to when you're reading the story, and sometimes maybe you want it to go one way. And like I see a lot of people do this, a lot of reviewers, and sometimes you think, okay, I think this is gonna happen, I think this, but when it doesn't, I mean, you can't get mad. It's not your story, it's not my story, it's their story. And they're telling it how they're gonna tell it how they want to tell it, and that's the bottom line. Like I say, you either like it, love it, or hate it. You know, and that's basically it. you know. Oh yeah, Uber Hikari. Yeah, he's been off for a good little minute. With the college stuff. School work and whatnot. Now he was, yeah, he was also one, from those live streams, that were so popular. Let's see, Ramiyaki and Jotun, excuse me. You know, let's see, Ryui Tachi. Congratulations and stay safe over there. He's in the Marines now. Oh, the female reviewer. Yeah, the female reviewer. And sometimes I am subscribed to Shonen Nights. And let's see. Oh, what's my man? I've been with him for a while. Huh. He does like live. He'll do a live stream every Friday. What's his name? I'm looking at during my subscriptions and I don't see it right now. But he, sometimes he'll do this regardless whatever he review. He'll change the name of a character or something like that Megazord. That's yeah. And let's see. And what does he say in Naruto when who was that? No, that was Bleach when he did Bleach, and it was what's okay we had Kugo and let's see Kugo. I forget his name off the top of my head, but he, the one who changed memories, the Fullbringer who changed memories. If he cuts it, he can change. He can just write it down in his book and change. Yeah, with his book of Zen, he was like, I think his name was Socket to me. He changed his name to Socket to me. I'm like, what? Man, he is so funny. he's been doing this for a while. Um, Everybody knows what I'm talking about. I mean, well, a lot of people, yeah, 'cause he's been doing these reviews for a few years. Oh, manga men. Yeah, so I mean, at some point during the year, he's gonna say Megazord or something like that. I mean, it's funny. Let's see, Rampage. Yeah, Rampage is and it's like Ramp, then Page with two A's in it. He's actually one of the oldest reviewers on YouTube, to be for sure. Yeah, let's see. Somebody else I just seen. Let's see, Charles E's Anime World. Um, let's see. Of course, they got the Breakmaster. Um, Sarah Henmei. What's this another one? Oh, Sugarfoot. Yeah, Sugarfoot. Now she had I'm not sure if her channel is still up right now, but um, she was getting a lot of harassment and people, I mean, I guess somebody's, saying they knew if she stayed and they was gonna, harm her and her family, and it became, how to, and it just became so she left a few months ago. She may be back sometime this year, maybe not. Like I say, I basically I sent her some words of encouragement. 'Cause I mean, man, she was frightened. I mean, yeah, and this is all supposed to be having good times, and enjoyment. It's not any of that. So, hopefully she's been doing well. Somebody else new, I found a few months ago, Ice Titan 123. Now, Ice Titan, he does his reviews. And with him, Ice Titan, now what I like about him is that, um, and you're gonna notice once you look at his videos, is that yes, he does have a stuttering problem. He does stutter, and I'm not gonna say, excuse me for saying it like that, the stuttering problem, but he stutters, and you can't help what you can't help. So that's no big deal for me. I listen to the reviews. I listen to how he sees things. And that's actually one of the main reasons why I did subscribe when I came across his channel. I mean, like I say, so definitely give him a check out. Don't be like I say. Just be respectful and just listen to his reviews. And and you're gonna like it. You're gonna like the review. Like I say, but he does stutter. That's the only thing. So, but like I say, just show respect. If you stuttered, you wouldn't want nobody to make fun of you. In which um, yeah, some people have been doing that. And 'cause I did. I sent out. He had a little questionnaire for like Thanksgiving or something. You know what? Yeah, basically. So, and I think I was the only one to ask some questions. So, went ahead and asked some questions, and he made the video, replied, yeah. So, I mean, just show respect. I know some of you all are younger, and some of you are older. It's just about, like I say, just listen to the reviews. Yes, he does stutter, but it's no big deal. It may take him a few seconds longer, to say a word. It may take him 3 or 4 times to say a word, but that's no big deal. Like I say, just give him a chance, and he does, like he says on his videos, say please tell your friends and spread the word. So just give him a chance, and I'm pretty sure you'll like you'll like the reviews with the content, and you'll get used to hearing the stuttering, 'cause like I say, at the end of the day, it's not a problem, it's just something, and definitely give him encouragement, to keep on doing it. I just saw his video for 2014. He said he's looking to give his best for everybody because everybody deserves it. And he's looking to improve his channel. So just be respectful. That's all I ask. And let's see, we also have Zombie Zebra Manga. Now he's had like a couple different channels, and he changed the name of this one, but um, I just stick to this one. He's had like one where he does like movies and stuff, and gamings and gaming, let's plays basically. And he started off on YouTube doing the live reactions where he read it along, and then he started doing like reviews. So they were shorter, but now he's back to doing, for the most part, and he's actually started with Hunter x Hunter from the very beginning. So he was like on chapter 84 right now, currently with because he's about a lot of the volumes of Hunter x Hunter. He may have them all, I'm not sure, but give him a look out. And Miss Danielle Bell, I haven't seen her in a minute. That's another person from Europe. Yeah, I haven't seen her in a minute. I don't think she's made a video in a while. No, matter of fact, I don't see a new update since I've last. But you know, yeah, I mean, it's not bad. Like I say. Oh, and I was going back. Yeah. This all started off when I was talking about Game on Cloud 9. Basically, he made it to Japan last year. He made it to Japan last year, and so that was one thing in life he had been wanting to accomplish and do, and he did it. So he kind of shut some people up right there. You know what I mean? Like, told you can't do something, you do it, bam. you know, but and I, you definitely respect him for, he sticks to his viewpoints and what he believes. And like I said, I've listened to some of the Cloud Village things, and if he definitely stands up for what his stuff and what he believes. I'll say that right now, whether you agree with it or not, you know. And let me see, how long has this been? Well, 47 minutes. Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can upload it. I'm not breaking this apart at all. So you'll either hear this or you won't. So if you're hearing it, a successful upload, and maybe it stays up. I don't know. Hopefully. And yeah, and people, I'm pretty sure that Hunter x Hunter will be back this year. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that that it is gonna be back this year. So just keep, what the Terrell Owens say. Get your popcorn ready. Hey, get your popcorn ready. Because it's coming back and they're about to go to what's that? I think it's the Dark Continent if I remember correctly. Um, because right now, in the anime with Hunter x Hunter 2011, it's in the Chimera Ant arc. So yeah, it's about that time, people. It's about that time. So just enjoy what you want to enjoy, basically. And like I say, if you don't like it, you don't have to, you don't have to be an asshole about it or be a jerk and just spam all kind of stuff on people's pages and videos. Like this sucks and this sucks, and telling other people that don't read it, hey, that's you. you know. I mean, like I say, you don't want to hurt the industry like that. And just because you don't like it don't mean that nobody can never like it, yeah. And the same thing applies, just because you like it don't mean that, everybody will. So it works both ways. And so I'm all about respect. You show it, you give it, you receive it. Like I say, it's basically something that's been said time and time again. But just treat others how you would want to be treated. If you don't want to be, cursed at, talked down to, looked down upon, treated nasty, I mean, it can go a long way. Don't mean that, people won't treat you like that, even if you are not, you are respectful. But, at the end of the day, at least I wasn't an asshole. That person was. So like I said, I hope everybody has a very good year. Hopefully, I guess I'm delving into, like real life. Hopefully, if anybody did lose anybody, you know, just keep on taking it one day at a time. Keep on moving forward. I know it's tough, and trust me, it's very tough. But you just gotta keep taking it one day at a time, and just remember everything. I guess you would say the good, bad, and the ugly, but the good, just the happy times, and you'll be all right at the end of the day. You'll be all right. Like I say, just give it time. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna try to wrap this up right about now. Like I say, if I do come back on these reviews, um, I think I'm gonna just pick up where the current chapters are at. Cause I mean, being so limited on time, it's like yeah, I can't come back and just. I may give like recaps or something like that. Okay, yeah, this chapter was awesome. That chapter was awesome. Yeah, something like that. And like I said, I do apologize. To all the people. You know, who are definitely looking forward to those World Trigger reviews. Like I say, it's out. Show your support. The volume should be here in the States, hopefully within the first quarter of this year. So, yeah, let's just hope for its continued success. And um, until the next video, like I say, maybe the third or fourth quarter of this year. Till then, take care, everybody. And, enjoy.